Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King. And today I'm going to be giving you part 8 of What If Naruto Was Gilgamesh Reincarnation. Remember to get this one too. 100 like as usual. Share this to all of your friends on your social media platform. And also guys, don't forget to go ahead and check out the brand new series over on Anime King 2 of What If Naruto Was the Grand Priest and the Omni King Reincarnation. So go ahead and enjoy those guys. And also if you're new, yes, I did have 4 more channels which I post What If on every single day for you guys to enjoy. All the links will be down in the description, so go ahead, check them out, and yeah, enjoy. So without further ado or wasting more time, how about we jump right into this? Begin now, guys. So, to do a bit of a recap from the last part that we left off, returning back to the village, as there was a council meeting taking place, Jiraiya had refused to take the position of Hokage, as it was not something that he had desired. With that out of the way, they mainly focused on Naruto, who had wiped away the Land of Sound completely. Yes, he had destroyed the Land of Sound, as nothing was remaining of the vast underground system of bases. As Naruto stepped in front of the council and told them that he did not regret his actions, nor did he regret not coming to them first. First of all, a retaliation had to be done to show the other nations out there that Konoha's strength had not lacked over the past couple of years. They were attacked by Orochimaru and the Sand, 2 weak villages compared to them. It just shows how much people believe that their strength had lessened over the years. So yes, he did not regret what he did, not in the slightest. Having already had an idea of what is going to happen, as Naruto had already seemed to pick who was going to be the next Hokage. Despite people saying that he should take the title, that was not what he desired at the moment, as there was someone else. Another Sanin, because he already surmised that Jiraiya would not take it because of his spy network, and it just wasn't really his thing. So Naruto and Jiraiya decided to take a visit to find Tsunade. Before that though, Naruto headed towards the Land of Wave to check upon Karin to make her know that everything was just alright. Both him and Jiraiya then left. As they were ambushed, people were coming after Naruto and the bounty on his head, but once again he showed them that they weren't a threat at all. However, Naruto did say that something out there was coming after him. The Sanin was curious what he meant, as Naruto could feel something. He didn't know what it was, but something was out there. He wasn't sure exactly what kind of thing it was though. Naruto was also talking about heading to Kumo. Jiraiya had forbid it, telling him that that would make a epic mistake and cause a lot of problems. Naruto did not say that he would not go though. As they headed off, they ran into Itachi and Kisame, as Naruto chose to take them on. Sasuke arrived though and got the crap beaten out of him, as Naruto took Kisame on. Kisame was joking around until he was badly wounded by Naruto. It just showed what kind of power that Naruto possessed, as he was a monster amongst monsters. Kisame was shocked as he was overwhelmed, as he had to literally push himself, realizing that this kid was something else. However, Itachi intervened and the both of them fled. The search was continued as Naruto and the group made its way as they finally find Tsunade. Just as arrogant as Naruto was, Tsunade was even, perhaps worse, in not doing anything that she doesn't want to do, as they led to an argument. However, Naruto challenged her, a challenge that he had set for some time later. While he might come off as arrogant and not a very smart individual, he was incredibly smart. And Naruto proved that by waiting until Orochimaru showed up, as Naruto was able to invigorate Tsunade by just fighting in front of her, by snapping some sense into her as he took on Kabuto. However, Tsunade intervened and sent Kabuto sailing. Orochimaru tried to fight them but soon realized that was not a possibility, as Kabuto used his arm to summon Manda. As Manda jumped in big and bad, however Naruto severed his tail and then removed his head. In the process though, Orochimaru and Kabuto fled, as Naruto ended one of the great legendary snakes like it was nothing. What followed was Naruto and Tsunade agreeing to what they had plotted to some time ago, the arm wrestling, as the both of them started to infuse themselves with power. When their hands finally clashed, the entire place erupted in an explosion, as Jiraiya and Shizune wanted to know which one of them won. However, none of them was quite sure, but Tsunade decided to head back and become the Hokage. A far distance away, a dark-haired boy was making his way when he suddenly fell into a pit of mud. However, this mud was not normal as it started to consume him. It proceeded to take his shape and his likeness, looking exactly like him as it walked out, a being of death and destruction. Whatever it was heading somewhere, as it seemed to be only focused on one thing as it headed off. So yeah guys, basically that's where we left off. You guys can switch across the place, check off your subs so to begin this new episode. Two Kumo ninjas were simply observing, as they were the security after all. They were simply protecting their village, as there was many sections between them and the gates of Kumo. As the ninjas saw someone, it was a boy who seemed to be no older than 14 or 15, possessing long dark hair and dark eyes. He wasn't wearing anything on his feet. He was dressed in a grey cloak, and that was all. As he calmly walked, one of the Kumo ninjas jumped down. As he made his way, he stopped in front of the boy. "Identify yourself," he said. As the boy had nothing with him, no carriages, no caravan. The young boy looked up, his dark eyes looking so empty. As he looked into the Kumo ninja eyes, he looked down towards his hands, as he looked rather confused. As he looked at him, he then opened his mouth to say something. He spoke a name, a rather strange name. "Enkidu," he said. "Is that your name?" the Kumo ninja asked. He said it once again. "Enkidu," he said. "You said that already," the Kumo ninja said. "What is your business here?" Enkidu looked past him as he simply gazed forward, as he was able to see the village from this far distance. "There," he said, as he raised his hand and pointed towards the direction of the village. There was something there that he was after. "I'm sorry, but I can't allow you to pass without a proper reason," the Kumo ninja said. "Now be on your way." Enkidu looked towards him before he started to walk. The Kumo ninja took this as a threat. As he was walking towards him, he quickly pulled out a kunai. "I said, I can't allow you to pass." In the blink of an eye, the Kumo ninja was disarmed, as he slammed against the rocky surface. A look of pure confusion was on his face. How did he hit the ground, he thought. What just happened? His partner jumped down and launched 3 kunais, but they only hit the ground, as Enkidu was now standing behind him. He chopped him in the back with enough force to send him sailing as he crashed into his partner. He then bent his knees before he jumped straight up in the sky as his gaze swept around until it pinpointed someone. That is when a ridiculous amount of force exploded out of him. He zooped through the sky at tremendous speed, blazing towards the village. Meanwhile, in Kumo, close by to be more precise, it was Irankyo Valley, a location belonging to the Eight-Tails Killer Bee. On a rocky surface sat Yujito, recovering from her training session with Killer Bee. Killer Bee was similar to her in more ways than one. For one, he possessed the Eight Tails, so more than most he could understand her. However, her thoughts had been really inflicted and conflicted lately, and they were all about Naruto. Since their battle, and what he said to her, she hadn't been able to get that off her mind, and she was still thinking about what he said to this day. She figured that some training would get it off her mind. Killer Bee was a master swordsman, as he possessed a rather unique sword style. It was fast, agile, and rather overwhelming. However, any weapon that she wields, she could simply learn and understand in a rather quick fashion. However, she did not like his style to use it for her own. She had her own style after all. As she glanced towards him, she released a breath as he was rapping. He always did that. He was giggling to himself and writing something down in a notebook. However, before she could say a word, the pen in his hand stopped as he snapped his gaze up. Boom! Something crashed down on the mountainside that they were on, with an incredible amount of force, shaking the entire place. Killer Bee stepped forward. Now who goes there disrupting my rhyme? Because it ain't gonna be a fun time, he said, rapping in his usual joking manner. However, as he looked towards the individual as Yujito stepped up beside him. Who are you? Said Yujito. The black-eyed youth looked up. As he looked at her, his gaze seeming to study every inch of her. Once again he spoke his name. Enkidu, he said. Why are you here, Enkidu? Yujito asked. He raised a hand as he pointed directly towards her. I am here for you, he said. Yujito narrowed her gaze when suddenly he dashed forward. His speed was off the charts. However, B pushed her out of the way as he jumped in the path, whipping out a sword. As it landed in his hand, he swung. To his shock, though, his blade was blocked by a golden chain. The chain wrapped around his blade and snaked around his arm. He tried to move, but it wrapped around his neck and wrapped around his other arm before slamming him down into the ground. The chains piled on top of him as they wrapped around him tightly. He was unable to move as the chains held him down. He immediately started to draw on the power of the Eight Tails. However, Enkidu arrived in front of him and placed a hand down on his chains. To be shocked, the power was being reverted back inside of him. He was confused as Enkidu looked down towards him. I have no quarrels with you, he said. Stay down. He ducked, dodging Yujito's blade. As he dodged it with such ease, she turned, but he kicked her out of the air, sending her sailing. She slammed the blade in the ground, stopping herself from being thrown back, when suddenly chains erupted from the ground. She jumped as she swung. Her blade sliced right through the chain as she twisted several times before bringing it down, shattering a huge clump of chains. He dashed towards her as she crossed her blade, but he blurred away. She spun as he kicked her in the back. She crashed hard into the ground. He appeared above her and brought his foot down. However, she rolled and jumped away as she landed softly. Who the hell is this guy? She wondered to herself. He blinked away once again. She turned only to see a violent discharge of electricity It ripped through the entire place. She used her blade to take most of the effect, but her arms and legs were still hit. He disappeared once again and kicked her. She was then knocked back down towards the ground. A chain grabbed one of her legs and slammed her face first down into the ground. It dragged her across the mountain before it crashed her in the center. B was fighting and struggling to break free, but unable to. Yujito was no longer there, as she was a mess. She was bleeding and bruised. However, she was not one to easily give up. But at that moment, several Kumo ninjas landed. She shouted at them to get out of here, to move now. However, they draw their weapons. Enkidu turned towards them, as he looked rather upset. "This does not concern you," he screamed. His scream led to a massive chain of events. The entire island, the entire mountainside shook with a terrible force. Windows crack, mountains break. The Kumo ninjas were launched away as they all proceeded to crash hard. The Raikage, who was blazing coming towards the area, had to stop and brace himself as a violent force swept through the entire place, tearing through everything as the rocks and everything was torn apart. The Raikage heard his ears ringing. What the hell was that, he thought, powering up to 100%. However, he then fell over, his equilibrium off balance. As he had to struggle to get back to his feet, he reached up and touched his ears. His ears were bleeding. Meanwhile, Yujito could only blink in shock at the chaos that he caused with just a scream. Just what in the... He vanished. She then turned as she saw him, as he pulled his arm back. It seems like the matter in his hand changed, as he brought it down straight towards her. With the way his hand was shaped, it would rip directly through her chest. She didn't want to die. She refused to die. In that brief moment, her blade and her became one. The problem was, Enkidu was just too fast. Much faster than her at the current moment. However, just as Naruto said, she was merely using a fraction of her blade true ability. But she couldn't stop him in time. However, his attack never hit. Instead, Enkidu was sent sailing as he smashed into the side of the mountain nearby. Pretty hard. When Yujito opened her eyes, standing there with his arms folded was none other than Naruto. She blinked in shock as she looked at him. Without word, he picked her up and placed her on her feet. You're here. We'll talk later, said Naruto. They're coming, he said, as Enkidu landed in front of them a few distance away, completely unharmed. It's you, Enkidu said. Naruto stepped forward, releasing Yujito. Tell me, who are you? Said Naruto. More precise, what are you? Enkidu looked down towards his hands. I don't know. Well, you're like us, Naruto said, looking towards Enkidu. I can see that clearly. As Naruto was examining him, there's only one other that I've met with this kind of aura, and that's her. That means you're not from this world either. So why are you trying to kill her? Said Naruto. He looked down once again. It is my purpose, not just to kill her, but to defeat you, to rid you two from this world. You two will unknowingly bring chaos and destruction. And I felt it. While I slept, I felt the tremors. I heard the screams of the people that you killed. She is also tied into this, so she must also die as well. As Naruto smirked, finding this rather humorful. So, Us three are from a different world. A different time of existence before this one. Me and her are quite happy with the life that we have. But you on the other hand, you came here with a sole existence to end our life. Yes, and you cannot stop me, Enkidu said. Tell me your name. Enkidu, he said. Well, Enkidu, as much as I would like to learn more about my past, which really doesn't concern me anymore though, I can't allow you to hurt her. And besides, it's not like you're gonna win against me. You might be a powerful beast, the strongest monster I ever faced. But me on the other hand, I'm a different kind of monster, said Naruto. They turned their gaze as the Raikage descended upon the area, along with his men. However, Naruto simply smirked before he took off. Enkidu braced himself as Naruto crashed into him, and the both of them, they took off away from the area. A far distance away, as they were able to move at such speeds. The both of them crashed through a mountain, literally blowing the complete top off. The Raikage rushed towards his brother, with the sole intention to free him, but he could not break the chains, because the moment he touched them, they seemed to have a mind of their own as they tried to grab him as well. However, Yujito arrived and cut right through them. The Raikage intention was to go over there and stop this, but Yujito spoke up. You can't, she said, as all attention was drawn towards her. However, as she was in the middle of trying to explain, a toad could be seen hopping towards the area. A large, sizable toad that towered over the Raikage and his men. Confusion marred the Raikage's face as the toad went through hand sign. It then slammed its hand on its own stomach. Suddenly, it opened its mouth as a hand came out. Crawling out of the toad's mouth was none other than Jiraiya of the Sannin. Jiraiya, what are you doing here? The Raikage said. Where is he? Jiraiya said. Yujito knew who he was looking for, as she decided to fill them in. Then Jiraiya proceeded to tell them why he was here. Jiraiya had told Naruto that he shouldn't come here. However, soon after they appointed the new Hokage, Naruto vanished, and no one could find him. Since his attack on the sound, he's been going around with his, own free will. At first he headed towards the land of Wave, but he wasn't there. So Jiraiya used the toad to get around, to travel a far distance, as he allowed the toads to use the well that was close by the coast, and then proceeding to take the other way around, and then reverse summon him here through its mouth. Their attention was drawn as an explosion obliterated the top half of the mountain close by, forcing all of them to guard themselves away from debris and the dust that rained down upon them. Killer Bee immediately transformed as the great Eight Tails slammed its fist into a large, sizable chunk, destroying it from harming the people. They looked up in the sky as they saw thousands of golden chains descended out from the heavens, as they saw thousands of blades clashing against them with such violent and tremendous force. The whole place was being ripped apart a distance away from them. As Naruto was floating in the air, there was a smile on his face. I knew it. You were a different kind of monster, said Naruto. You may call me a beast, but after what you've done, I think you're under the misguided assumption of what a true monster is, he replied. As Naruto chuckled, you catch on fast. I see your speech is also advancing as we fight. However, this battle will only end one way. There can only be one victor, and I assure you, it will not be you. It is my purpose to end your life, to stop you from the atrocities that you will commit on this world. I won't allow you to go through with mass genocide. Well, if you haven't noticed, I've already done that, said Naruto. more than one time now. So, round 2, but this time, let's truly bring it, shall we? Once again, super speed they disappeared, moving farther and further away from Kumo, heading straight up into the mountains. The heavens quake with lightning, natural source of lightning, but Enkidu summoned lightning on his hands, which he used to rain down towards Naruto. As Naruto summoned one of his blades and caught lightning itself, Enkidu brought his hand down and erupted a forest from the earth. This was unlike Mokiton. The forest was humongous and literally overpowered the mountain. Each vines and each branches that came down with the sole purpose and intention to end Naruto's life. Naruto brought out a blade, a golden handle, as he drive it into the earth. It produced flames that burned the entire forest to ash. Enkidu slammed his hand down and moved the mountain, erupting a giant piece and launching it towards Naruto. Flying towards it, Naruto split it as he burst through the center as the both of them traded blows. Their attacks were violent. Their attacks were vicious and deadly. The spectators could do nothing but watch. The Sanin Jiraiya, the Raikage and his people, even the 8-tailed Jinchuriki, Yujito, they all watch, witnessing a fight that should go down in history. Mountain after mountain was sent crashing down. The place was being ripped apart. They were lucky that this did not take place within the epicenter of the village. Otherwise, there wouldn't be a village left standing. As Naruto was using all of his weapons, pulling out almost all of the weapons in his treasury. As Naruto opened a gate that consumed a large section of the sky. However, Enkidu possessed vast array of abilities. He was able to strengthen his arms stronger than steel. With his bare hand, he knocked Naruto blade away like it was nothing. As they clash, seconds turn into minutes, and minutes turn into hours. As the night sky started to darken, everyone was frantically watching as the battle took place. Yujito was worried about her safety and Naruto's as well. As powerful as she was, she didn't believe she could take on that monster. But now she realized just how much Naruto was holding back during their battle. Had he really possessed power like this, locked away? As hours upon hours went by, until the night sky was darkened, Jiraiya wanted to intervene on numerous occasions, but the backlash alone had sent them sailing. As the power output was just too much, they rearranged the entire place. Gouge, trench, the place was being ripped to sunders. However, everything seemed to be calming down. As the forces started to get closer, the battle finally came to an end, everyone wondering who took the victory. In the middle of a large, colossal trench, Enkidu had stopped. Naruto had stopped, the both of them standing inches away from one another. There was weapons littering the place, all around, thousands upon thousands upon thousands upon thousands of weapons. As Naruto stood there, his vault was empty. In terms of blades, he had things that could not be considered as blades after all. For the first time in his entire life, you could see that Naruto was exhausted. Yet, there was a smile on his face unlike any other, as he seemed so invigorated, so happy. Despite the chaos that just took place, Enkidu also showed discomfort, but majority of it was confusion. The both of them collapsed to the ground at the same time, as they seemed rather out of it. That is when Naruto burst out laughing, confusing him. He couldn't understand. Why? Why do you laugh? You have not won, yet you have not lost either. You're right. You're the only person this far that has able to push me to this limit. That is why I laugh. That is why I feel so invigorated and so happy. As much as my desire was to end your life earlier, that is not something I wish right now. Why? My sole purpose is to kill you. And why is that? Said Naruto. Because you're a monster. I don't know why, but I knew that I was created to end your life. To stop you. You say that I do not know the word of what a monster is. However, let me show you. As Naruto looked directly in his eyes. At first, Enkidu felt it. He wanted to share memories with him. As he allowed it, he was able to peer into his mind. He had felt all of the bloodshed, all of the chaos. But now, he understood why. As he saw the attack on Konoha, he saw the one that is known as Orochimaru and his people. He saw the earlier attacks he saw Karin and the state that she was put through. He blinked in shock and confusion once it was done. I don't understand, he said. As I said earlier, you're the one that don't know what the definition of a monster is, said Naruto, pulling himself back up. I am many things. An arrogant, narcissistic bastard. And to many, yes, I'm a monster, but my actions are always justified. Some might not see it as such, but to those I don't give a damn, said Naruto. And I do not wish to end your life. You are one of the 2 persons that I know that are just like me, not from this world. Killing you off will just be cutting that population extremely short. You seem to have knowledge that I don't possess about the past world. As small as it might be, I would like to know more. And in doing so, you will have to live. And your intention to end my life will have to stop. As Naruto got to his feet, despite his tired state, as he was walking towards him, the Yujito arrived. As she was fully rested and fully healthy. After all, they had been fighting for hours upon hours. Her blade was inches away. Stop! As Enkidu looked up at the blade that was about to pierce through his chest, she looked towards Naruto confused. Why? This is the opportunity, she said. We got started under a misunderstanding, said Naruto. Enkidu no longer desired to kill us. Naruto spoke despite Enkidu not saying that. As she looked down towards him with a narrowed gaze. And you truly believe his words? What if he's just lying, so he won't end his life? I believe him, said Naruto. And there is no one in this world and even beyond that can deceive my eyes. Stepping towards Enkidu, Naruto extended a hand as Yujito moved her blade. Enkidu looked towards it as he was trying to understand, trying to see this world as something more than just a path where he must complete his task that he was born with. He reached out and took Naruto's hand as Naruto pulled him up to his feet, the others arriving towards the scene. However, Naruto simply waved them off for rushing here for no reason. Time skip. Tsunade Senju gritted her teeth. That arrogant little shit, she said, as she was reading the letter that was sent by Jiraiya of where Naruto was. But at least Jiraiya was there, so he was the middleman to sort things out just in case things went extremely bad. However, given the right Kage attitude, as she had met the man before, there is a good chance that those 2 personalities would not clash, but instead, they would find a middle ground, an understanding between one another. However, She had to make that brat know what is what. The moment he arrived here, for disobeying her orders. Well, she didn't exactly give one, but that should be a no-brainer. Back at Kumo, as Naruto was standing in the Raikage's office, tell me why again? Why should I allow him to roam free after what he did to my village and after what he did to my shinobis? The Raikage said, at the moment, Enkidu was residing in one of Kumo prison cells. He had willingly go there after his talk with Naruto, given the fact that he attacked the village. However, Naruto had no intention of letting him die here. Of course not. As now Naruto stood in the office, Jiraiya was in there as well, as he had to make sure that Naruto did not go overboard. The Raikage was now trying to understand why was this boy coming to him about freeing someone that attacked his village, coming after his people. Luckily no one died, but still, he couldn't just stand down that easily and roll over. First of all, your people are safe, and the minor destruction that has happened to your village, send me a bill, and I'll cover it, said Naruto. However, I'm not going to allow you to end this life. Allow me, the Raikage said. Yes, you heard what I said, said Naruto. I won't allow you to end this life. Naruto was not backing down, as the Raikage sent him a harsh look. Why do you even want him alive? He tried to end your life as well. Yes. However, he knows different now, and he realized that what he did was wrong. After all, he allowed you guys to take him in. If he would have fought back, a lot of your people would have fallen in the chaos. But he willingly went along with you guys, because he has a lot to think about. I was originally coming here to have a talk with you about that little conversation that we had within my village before the invasion. But now more than ever you can see the strength I possess, and not to mention my new friend, said Naruto. So this is your opportunity to sign yourself with one of the greatest nations. And as much as there has been rumors or fantasies that Konoha is not the strongest, I'm sure by now you can see that all of that has been squashed after what I did to the sound. Because anyone that proves to be a problem to my village, anyone that come after me and my people, I will not rest until I wipe their very existence off this earth. As much as the Raikage didn't like the way Naruto was speaking to him, he respected the boy's courage to stand up and speak to Akage like that. As he gave him a look, you speak like you have the authorization to authorize any deal or anything. As of the moment I do not, said Naruto. However, the Hokage and myself share similar belief, and I'm sure that she would be more than happy enough to sign a deal that unify our two nations, given my state that I already have in your country. And what do you mean by that? I've told you before, said Naruto, my interest in one of your shinobis. To make things more official, I would not be above a political marriage to sign a greater bond between the both of our village. Both the Raikage and Jiraiya were rather surprised, as Jiraiya blinked, slowly remembering when Naruto was talking to him about the understanding of the word love. Now it all made sense. So it was that girl, he thought to himself. As the Raikage was surprised by Naruto being this bold upon his actions, while uniting with Konoha will bring a greater revenue to the village, the Raikage couldn't be seen as the one to be jumping through hoops here. His pride wouldn't allow him. He skipped over the whole marriage proposal thing as he talked about something else. What about the connection between Konoha and the land of wave, he said. Ah, you truly want to know about my connection there, said Naruto. Think of me as a country daimyo, However, because of my ties with the village, they will be getting a huge discount. So, you're still charging your own village for goods that resides from a country that you own, he said to Naruto. Of course, while I am a charitable individual, I also have proper sense. And if you want to know, yes, you and I can work out a deal there as well. Tell me, the Raikage said. Why are you so insisting upon this? Why do you desire this so much? It is quite simple. I believe I have fallen in love with this Yujito girl. And I intend to explore that feeling a lot more. And without this, having me walk into your village, it would be a problem. Having me associated one of your top shinobis will also be a problem. But this way, there wouldn't be any problem. In fact, it can benefit the both of us. So, the ball is now in your court, said Naruto. It's up to you whether you want to agree or disagree. And if I were to say no, what would that do for your little feelings then, the Raikage said. Well then, I will simply do what I want. And it is going to lead to a bigger issue, but I can tell you right now, I simply don't care. There was a tense silence in the room for a long couple of minutes, until the Raikage burst out laughing. Jiraiya released a breath, expecting things to turn much worse. However, the Raikage laughed. I must say, you're the most arrogant, narcissistic, self-serving bastard I've ever met in my entire life. The Raikage said, looking towards Naruto. The child was willing to risk everything for his own desires. If anyone else, the Raikage just had to laugh, as he found it rather humorful. Fine, he said. I suppose your Hokage and I could have a conversation. Time skip. Naruto arrived towards the cell. The door opened up as he was led inside. Naruto walked as he proceeded to sit down, looking over towards Enkidu. Nothing was said between the two for a moment until Enkidu decided to speak. Things are different than I expected. My sole purpose of awakening, my sole purpose to live, was to end your existence. However, now that I have not completed that task, I feel empty. But at the same time, I feel I've gained a new understanding on the world, and on you as well. My thoughts, they're not the ones that I saw you in. What do you mean? Said Naruto. Upon hearing the screams, feeling the tremors, my mind constructed a part of you that was nothing but a ruthless monster that lived for destruction, that slaughtered hundreds and thousands just for the sake of fun. However, it seems my mind was misleading me the entire time. I do not know why. You said it yourself. I am amongst three that is not from this world. That girl, yourself and me. I don't have any memories of the world beyond this one, but I can feel connections. How we got here, how we were born in this world. My process was different from yours. It seems you were somehow reincarnated along with that girl. As for myself, I was placed here by something or someone with the sole purpose of killing the both of you. You mostly. However, I can feel it that we are not alone. As Naruto gave him a skeptical look, there is something else. I can't feel it right now, but I know that it's there. Something gravely stronger than the power I currently have at my disposal. A beast. A true monster that will stop at nothing until this world is ashes. Is that so? Said Naruto, looking unbothered despite what he just heard. Tell me something. You speak about this new beast. with the desire that you're going to live in this world. What changed? He looked towards Naruto. It's you. You gave me a better understanding from those memories and words that you share with me. I do not know or what is my purpose anymore if it is not to end your life. Well, said Naruto, I think we can figure that out. The world is large and vast after all. And whatever this monster is, the moment it reared its head, I will lay waste to it, said Naruto. Time skip. Yujito found herself alone. As she hadn't been able to speak to Naruto for much. Things were just so hectic, from the first battle to him being occupied with the Raikage, him talking to the one that almost claimed her life, but he's now different, as he said. She turned as she saw the same individual, his dark hair and dark eyes. As she was on her guard in an instant, but he raised his hands towards her. I am sorry, Enkidu said. You're sorry, she said. Yes, my purpose was misguided. I no longer seek to put an end to your life. I apologize for my actions in hurting you and harming you in any way, he said to her, his tone sounding rather respectful. She looked at him when she saw Naruto walking up behind them. It's fine, said Yujito, because she wanted to talk with Naruto alone. Naruto placed a hand on his shoulder as he nodded before walking off. Your words might sound genuine, but you have not truly forgiven them. She narrowed her gaze. You call him them and then sometime you call him him. Why? His features might look like male, however, he's rather genderless, said Naruto. How do you know that, she asks. I can simply tell, he said to her, as he stepped towards her. You and I have a lot to discuss. What gives you that idea? She said to him. I must say, a lot of time has passed. During the last time that we spoke, I had to do a lot. But now I'm here, so we can discuss what we've been skipping around, he said to her. She narrowed her gaze towards him. And what would that be, she asked, wanting to hear what he had to say. My confession to you before I was able to take you down. I'm sure that it left you rather confused, but I myself was also confused, so I needed to know what was going on, he said to her. Why did you say it then? Because I didn't understand the definition of the word. She looked disappointed hearing that. So, you didn't mean what you were saying? At the time, no, said Naruto. However, now, after having several conversations on the word at hand, I understand it quite well. Naruto stepped towards her and simply looked at her, his red eyes. This is the first time in my life I've experienced such strong feelings for someone. So tell me, is this a one-way street, he said to her. Naruto did not hold back in the slightest, as he said what was on his mind. She looked at him, her cheeks becoming a bit red. As he said that so casually, and yet she couldn't find herself to say it as such. She took a breath as she calmed herself. I do not know why, she said, but ever since we fought, I've been feeling something I can't even explain myself. So, no, she said to him. Time skip. Naruto, Jiraiya, and Enkidu arrived to the village, as they immediately noticed that something just wasn't right, heading towards the office. However, Tsunade was not there. She was not. They were informed that she was at the hospital. But more so, Sasuke Uchiha had fled the village. Making their way towards the hospital, Tsunade emerged from the room, looking rather exhausted but looking relief. As she saw Naruto, where the hell have you been, she said. What is going on, he said to her. Why have I heard that the Uchiha has left the village? She released a heavy sigh, because he has. And if you would have been here, you'd have been an extra help that I could have used. I had other business to take care of, said Naruto. Rather important ones. That will relieve some of this stress once you hear of it. But tell me, was the Uchiha forced away from the village? It doesn't look that way. Luckily, no one died on this mission, but I sent a team out to stop him. In the end, he faced off against Rock Lee, who tried to bring him back but he wasn't enough. Sasuke has fallen under the influence of Orochimaru, and he's gone to him. I always knew that he was weak, said Naruto. Really? That's the first thing you have to say after what I've just told you. It does not matter because there's nothing to worry about. I will find Sasuke Uchiha and bring him back to the village to receive his punishment for desertion. You don't even know where he is. Yes, you're right about that. However, this is the second time that the Sannin has escaped me. And I promise you there won't be a third when I do find him, said Naruto. I've already wiped away a lot of his already. There isn't much place out there in the elemental nation that is left for him to hide, said Naruto. And once we face each other once again, I will bring the Uchiha back, and I will also bring Orochimaru ahead as well. So as I said, there's nothing to worry about. Now, we have more important business to discuss, revolving around the future of this village, and many more. And what exactly is that, she asks. Time skip. Karin had been spending a lot of time at the Land of Wave. As Naruto arrived, the people there love him very much, as Karin met Naruto's new friend. He was lost, and he just needed some guidance in the world and everything. However, he took well to the people here, as they were soft and caring just like himself. However, what followed was, it was like a dagger hitting her heart, as Naruto spoke to Karin revolving his now relationship with Yujito, and the feelings that they both share with one another. It was like daggers hitting her chest, over and over again. Is something upsetting you? Naruto asks. No, she said. I'm quite alright. You're lying to me, said Naruto. I've already told you I can see through deception, so tell me, why are you lying to me? Karin released a breath as she looked away, unable to meet his eyes. It's just that, what you and I have been through, I thought you saw me as... Never mind. Tell me, said Naruto. You thought I saw you as what? Well, I thought you saw me the same way you saw her, she blurted out, immediately covering her mouth right after, looking incredibly embarrassed, as she was unable to face him. No words were said between the two, as she was starting to panic that he was so quiet. I'm confused what you meant by that, said Naruto. I thought you understand my feelings for you. Karin looked disappointed until Naruto spoke again. While I feel strong, emotional feelings for her, they are there for you as well. But the feelings that I feel for her are stronger. And it's because we're the same, said Naruto. What we were before this life, she's also that way as well. I've told you that before. I've never told anyone else much information that links to me and the past I once had, that I can't quite remember. And that's because out of almost everyone, I trust you the most. And I do feel these feelings for you. But they're different with her, because we're connected. And a big part of that is because we are from the former same place that we both cannot remember. And now, as you can see, there's a new addition to our group. I thought that my battle with Yujito was exhilarating, but facing off against him, I was finally able to actually push myself. I emptied my vault, something I've never done before. But don't misunderstand what I'm saying. As Naruto reached out and took her by the chin, She looked up, her cheeks were red. I do feel these emotional feelings for you as well. That is why I want you to sit down and have a conversation with you, Jito. Because I did tell her about you as well. You did? Of course, said Naruto. You are one of the most important people in my life as well. Tears well up in her eyes. She expected to be rejected, but she didn't get rejected. Sometimes he spoke whatever came to his mind and he just said everything, so it was a bit embarrassing most times, but other times it was just amazing. She did not even know what she was doing as she threw her arms around him. She kissed him. When she got so bold, she had no idea. She kissed him right on the lips. Upon realizing, she tried to pull back, however, he kissed her as well. Karen felt herself melting into him. It was almost like they became one in that very moment, until they broke apart, as she was flush. Given the look on his face, you could see that he enjoyed that kiss rather well. She was now embarrassed though, having a hard time looking him in the eyes, as she decided to change the subject. Your new friend, Enkidu, you said that you enter your vault fighting him. Does that mean he's stronger than you? She asks. We both collapsed in the end. However, Naruto gave her a certain look. Were you holding back? Well, it's complicated. I do possess something that no one in this world knows about. Would you like me to tell you what that is? She nodded her head as Naruto opened his mouth. Time skip. Orochimaru was hiding underground. That was it, he was hiding. Twice now he has come close to death. Orochimaru stood in front of a full-length mirror, as he wasn't wearing a shred of clothing. It didn't matter what he used. It didn't matter if he shed his skin. It didn't matter if he took another host. Ever since the battle in the forest with Naruto, when Naruto marred his skin, the scars would not go away. They were fully healed, but the scars would just not leave him no matter what. Orochimaru detested that boy. He wanted to rip him pieces to pieces. Even now, the snakes were not pleased with him. Those that follow Manda, because he summoned Manda to his death. Manda was picked apart piece by Naruto. Orochimaru was angry. However, if there was one good thing, Sasuke came to him. And now he had young Sasuke. And he intended to make him as strong as possible. So when the time comes for him to take him, he will. And the first person that he would put an end to was Naruto. He was the first one that he would lay to rest. This time there will be a victor. And that will be him. Time skip. Enkidu was right, as something else was out there. Naruto was known as Gilgamesh in the past. A very powerful, very powerful individual. Enkidu was created, crafted by the gods, to defeat him, to put an end to his tyranny. After receiving prayers from his former followers, who did not like his wicked ways. As much as Naruto seemed arrogant and ruthless, in the past he was a monster. He wasn't even from this world. He took what he want. He did what he want. He just did things for his amusement. While he still possessed that certain rate of abilities and range of emotions to just hurt and destroy. It was lessened by the form that he was reincarnated in, as a child of Minato and Kushina. However, there was a problem. There must always be a balance. Naruto was brought into this space as a force that was just too powerful. Yes, he was just too powerful. Because his power was still rising. He was still getting stronger. Therefore, Enkidu was also brought here as well, with the sole purpose of destroying him. However, in Naruto's time, Enkidu was destroyed by the gods when he was Gilgamesh. But now he was here as well. Something was wrong. The universe, time, everything seemed to be out of whack, as it had one sole purpose of destroying Naruto. And the last straw that it was going to throw was something that was fitted for its name, fitted for the name of a monster, a beast, something that is rising within the shadows, something that was capable of wiping the very elemental nation down to its knees. Whatever it was coming. And it was coming for Naruto. And this will be his test. Not his earlier battle, this will be his test to see if he was truly as powerful as he act like he was. Because this beast will not fall easy. If it would even fall at all. Well, only time could tell. But guys, be and subscribe right here. If you want to see next part, do like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notifications they posted. Remember, share to all of your friends in your social media platform. And don't forget to go ahead and check out the new series over on Anime King 2 of What If Naruto Was Omni King and Grand Priest Reincarnation, and enjoy that over on Anime King 2, guys. Link will be down in the description, so just click it and become a part of the Anime King family. So without further ado or wasting any more time, how about we get the hell out of here? See you guys soon. Peace.